Before we step into this moment, I want you to still your spirit and lean in, not casually, not halfway, but with the full expectation that God is about to speak directly into the atmosphere of your life. There is a prophetic urgency stirring in the realm of the spirit, and I feel it pulling on you, drawing you into alignment with what heaven has already prepared before the 10th of December arrives. God is positioning you, recalibrating you, and opening 5 distinct financial doors that your hands, your mind, and your future have been prepared to steward. This is not coincidence. This is divine orchestration. As you listen, I want you to treat every word as a seed, because what you're about to hear carries the power to transform the economic trajectory of your life. Some of you have been stretched, tested, pressed, and pushed to the very edges of your emotional and financial capacity. But hear me, the pressure you've been feeling is the signature of breakthrough. The enemy has tried to convince you that delay meant denial, but God says the delay was development. Heaven has been working behind the scenes, aligning resources, people, opportunities, and instructions that are about to meet you right where you are. Before December 10th, 5 doors, 5 supernatural, strategic, uncommon doors will swing open, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because favor has found your name and grace is rewriting your story. So lift your faith. Stir your expectancy, set your spirit in receiving mode, because what God is about to release over you requires a posture of bold belief. If you are ready for God to open these financial doors, then I want you to activate your faith right now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel for daily prophetic prayers, and write amen in the comments. And don't stop there. Comment one thing you are believing God for today. Let your declaration rise as a witness that you are stepping into a new financial dimension. There is a stillness that comes over the room when God begins to move in a direction that is intentional, precise, and time sensitive. And as we lean into this first keynote today, I want you to allow your spirit to settle into a posture of calm expectation. There is no rush, no pressure, no fear, only a quiet unfolding of what God has already spoken concerning your life. When I say that God is aligning 5 strategic financial doors to open before December 10th, I'm not speaking from a place of hype or emotional stirring. I'm speaking from a prophetic sensing, a spiritual knowing that heaven is synchronizing your life with divine timing. Right now, even as you listen, there are movements happening behind the veil of the natural realm, shifts, alignments, decisions, and conversations that you have not been privy to, but that are connected to your breakthrough. Sometimes the greatest miracles God performs are the ones you don't notice until they are fully manifested. And this is one of those seasons where God is doing quiet work, subtle work, foundational work that prepares you for something bigger than you imagined. The phrase strategic financial doors is important because God is not sending random blessings. He is sending targeted access points that lead to long-term transformation. God is not interested in giving you temporary relief. He is positioning you for sustained elevation. These 5 doors are not just 5 events. They are 5 systems of opportunity. Each door carries a different assignment, a different dimension of favor, a different expression of God's provision. One door may come through a person, another through an idea, another through a shift in environment, another through a divine interruption, another through a supernatural release. God's strategy is never one-dimensional. He moves in layers, patterns, and sequences that make sense only in hindsight. Right now, the pieces may seem scattered, disconnected, or uncertain, but God is gathering them and arranging them in a way that will reveal the beauty of his intention for your life. And before December 10th, something about the timing becomes significant. Not because the date itself has mystical power, but because God loves to mark seasons. He loves to place a window of time before you and say, prepare yourself, align your heart, and posture your faith, because I am about to do something by my spirit. When God sets a time boundary, it is not to create anxiety. It is to sharpen expectation. It is to stir hope where hope has grown tired. It is to reactivate faith where faith has been bruised. By telling you that 5 doors will open before that date, God is inviting you to come into partnership with His timing. He is telling you to prepare your mindset, prepare your environment, prepare your habits, prepare your daily decisions, and prepare your spiritual posture so that when the doors open, you will be ready to walk through them. God never opens a door you are unprepared to handle. He develops you before He delivers you. For many of you listening, you have felt a strange pressure in this season. Not a destructive pressure, but a refining one. You've been feeling the push to think differently, the urge to break old patterns, the subtle nudge to improve your stewardship, the pull to let go of relationships or environments that drain your energy. And this is because financial doors never open in the presence of internal disorganization. God has been pruning you so that you can carry what He is releasing. You cannot step into financial expansion with a survival mindset. You cannot receive strategic opportunities with a scattered heart. You cannot handle abundance with the same habits you had in seasons of lack. So God has been preparing you quietly through conversations that woke you up emotionally, through losses that force you to grow spiritually, through delays that taught you patience, through challenges that built resilience, and through unexpected blessings that reminded you of His faithfulness. Every moment, every pressure point, every shift has been part of the realignment for these 5 doors. Financial doors are not always about money itself. Sometimes they come in the form of clarity. Sometimes they come as divine instruction. Sometimes they come as the courage to finally take a step you kept postponing. Sometimes they come as an opportunity hidden behind a challenge. God's financial doors often begin as ideas, seeds planted in your imagination that you dismiss because they seem too small, too risky, or too simple. But ideas are the currency of heaven. God never gives wealth. He gives the seed that produces wealth. And one of the doors He is aligning for you is a door of revelation, an idea that will shift the trajectory of your finances. It may be something you've thought about before, but never had the courage to pursue. It may be something new that sparks suddenly, like a whisper in the back of your mind. When that idea comes, honor it, protect it, write it down, pray over it. Doors often look ordinary when they first appear. Another door God is aligning is a relational door. God blesses through people, and He also blesses by removing the wrong people. Some of you have experienced relational pruning recently. Not rejection, not abandonment, but divine repositioning. God is aligning your steps with people who carry answers, connections, wisdom, and access. These are not friendships based on convenience or emotion. These are kingdom alliances. These are people who are equipped to lift you, challenge you, and partner with your destiny. They will show up unexpectedly. A conversation may shift everything. A random encounter may open a door you prayed for years ago. When God aligns relational doors, they often come with peace, clarity, and mutual benefit. Pay attention to the people who enter your life in this season. They may hold keys to one of your 5 financial doors. There is also a door of restoration God is preparing. For many, financial hardship did not start with bad decisions. It started with loss. Loss of opportunity, loss of resources, loss of stability, loss of trust, loss of momentum, and God is restoring what was taken. Not in the same form, not in the same manner, but in a way that will be better, stronger, and more aligned with who you are becoming. Restoration is not God giving you back what you had. It is God giving you what you should have had if nothing had been lost. This door of restoration is not coming to comfort you. It is coming to reposition you. It is coming to correct the trajectory of your life and set you up for financial strength you never had before. A fourth door God is aligning is a door of correction, not as punishment, but as redirection. Sometimes the greatest financial breakthrough comes when God gently corrects the path you're walking. This door may come as conviction, a realization, a financial habit you finally decide to break, or a new mindset you embrace. Correction is a blessing when it comes from God. It removes the barriers you didn't know you were creating. It dismantles the patterns that were draining your resources. It shifts your thinking from survival to strategy, from fear to discipline, from impulse to wisdom. This door opens internally before it manifests externally. But when it opens, your entire financial world begins to shift. The fifth door is a supernatural door. The door you cannot predict, cannot earn, cannot reason, and cannot manufacture. This is the door that reminds you that God is not limited to natural systems. It may come as unexpected increase, unexpected approval, unexpected favor, unexpected opportunity, unexpected provision. This is the door that bypasses logic and reminds you that you are not relying on your own ability. You are relying on divine supply. Before December 10th, expect the unexpected. Expect God to move outside the limitations of your circumstances. Expect breakthroughs that make no sense in the natural. Expect favor that flows without explanation. All five doors are already in motion. Heaven is aligning. Things are shifting. The atmosphere around your life is changing. God is preparing you internally and externally for financial elevation. And as you listen, your spirit is being positioned to recognize these doors when they appear. There is a certain peace that settles over you when you finally understand that God has never abandoned you in the moments that felt like delay. And as we step into this second keynote, I want you to breathe slowly, letting your heart release the weight of every question, every worry, every anxious thought that has tried to convince you that you are forgotten. Delays can feel like silence, but in the kingdom of God, silence is often the sound of construction. God has been building something beneath the surface of your situation, developing you in ways you didn't see and preparing outcomes you couldn't predict. When I say that the delays you faced were divine development and not denial, I am reminding your spirit that heaven does not waste time. Heaven invests it. Every slow season, every paused moment, every unanswered prayer was God shaping you for the very breakthrough you've been praying for. Delay becomes painful when you misunderstand it. You see, when you expect God to move instantly, anything that takes longer than anticipated feels like resistance. But when you understand that you are on a divine timeline, delay becomes a classroom, a teacher, a refiner. God has been developing your endurance because great blessings require great capacity. He has been building your discipline because financial elevation requires stewardship. He has been deepening your faith because where he is taking you next cannot be handled with fragile belief. Development seasons are uncomfortable because they expose the parts of you God intends to strengthen. They reveal impatience so he can grow patience. They expose insecurities so he can build confidence. They surface old mindsets so he can renew your thinking. And though these seasons feel restrictive, they are actually protective. God delays what you are not ready to carry. Some delays were not even about you. They were about timing, alignment, and the movement of other people whose obedience or decisions were connected to your breakthrough. God does not operate in isolation. He operates in coordination. That means your blessing might require someone else's preparation, someone else's relocation, someone else's transformation. And until they were in place, the door you were praying for could not open. God's timing is always interconnected with the lives he weaves around you. What felt like God withholding was actually God orchestrating. He was bringing the right people into position, moving the wrong people out of the way, adjusting the environments you would step into, and creating the perfect atmosphere for your financial doors to open. Delay also confronts our tendency to depend on our own strength. When God allows you to wait, it is often because He is detaching you from self-reliance. He is breaking the illusion that you are limited to your own resources, your own intellect, your own connections, your own timing, your own strategy. Delay forces you to look up. It forces you to listen. It forces you to seek divine wisdom instead of leaning on human logic. When your plans fail, when your predictions fall apart, when your timelines collapse, God steps in and says, now that your hands are empty, I can fill them properly. Divine development often begins at the end of personal striving. Think back to the seasons where you felt stuck, those moments where progress seemed to halt, where you prayed and nothing shifted, where you tried and doors remained closed. Look deeper, not at the frustration of the delay, but at the transformation that occurred within you during that time. Perhaps your patience grew, perhaps your faith deepened, perhaps you learned to budget better, plan better, think better, or pray better. Perhaps you discovered a strength you didn't know you had. Perhaps you became more resilient. Perhaps you stopped settling for things that were beneath your calling. Perhaps you learned to let go. Perhaps you realized your worth. Every lesson you picked up in the delay was part of your development. God does not deny what He has destined. He only delays what must be developed. The delay was not a spiritual punishment. It was a spiritual investment. God was investing in your character, your mindset, your maturity, your emotional stability, your spiritual foundation. He was preparing you so that when the 5 financial doors opened, you would not crumble under the weight of the blessing. He was developing your ability to recognize opportunity, to handle increase, to sustain success, and to navigate responsibility. Blessings without preparation become burdens. And God loves you too much to give you something prematurely. Many of you are being protected during your delays. You thought you were ready to step into new opportunities, but the people connected to those opportunities were not ready for you. Their intentions, their integrity, or their character would have harmed you had the door opened earlier. Sometimes God delays to expose people. He allows time to reveal motives, to unravel unhealthy connections, and to detach you from relationships that cannot go where you are going. The delay preserved your purpose. It shielded your destiny. It protected what God is building in your life. And there were moments where you asked, why isn't this happening for me yet? You compared yourself to others, assuming God had moved faster for them, not realizing that you were not on the same assignment. Comparison is the enemy of development. You cannot measure your timeline by someone else's journey. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on schedule. God does not rush masterpieces, and the work He is doing in you requires precision. Every part of your journey has been intentional. Even the parts that felt like detours were actually divine rerouting. There is beauty in delay when you look at it through the lens of destiny. It teaches you to trust the process, to trust the God behind the process, and to trust the future He is shaping for you. When you stop fighting the delay and start learning from it, peace begins to settle in your spirit. You realize that God was not ignoring you. He was preparing you. You realize He was not withholding from you. He was strengthening you. You realize He was not blocking your progress. He was aligning your path. Because before He opens a financial door for you, He opens a deeper level of wisdom within you. Before He increases your resources, He increases your capacity. Before He blesses you externally, He develops you internally. Divine development often happens in silence, in isolation, in the unseen places where your faith is stretched and your patience is refined. These are the places where God does His best work. He removes the distractions. He slows down the noise. He brings you face to face with parts of yourself you've ignored. He reshapes your attitudes, refines your desires, and strengthens your inner man. And this spiritual craftsmanship becomes the very structure that supports your next level. The delays you faced were also invitations. Invitations to draw nearer to God, invitations to re-examine your habits, invitations to grow, invitations to release what no longer served you, invitations to trust beyond your understanding. Every delay brought with it an opportunity to become wiser, stronger, more stable, and more spiritually grounded, and you accepted those invitations, sometimes without even realizing it. Every time you chose hope instead of despair, you were developing. Every time you prayed instead of panicking, you were developing. Every time you held on to faith when circumstances contradicted your promise, you were developing. Every moment of endurance built the spiritual muscle required to sustain the blessings ahead. What you call delay, heaven calls preparation. What you saw as waiting, heaven saw as training. What felt like stagnation was actually elevation in disguise. God was lifting you internally so he could lift you externally. And now, as the alignment of those 5 financial doors approaches, you will begin to see why things had to happen the way they did. Nothing was wasted. No season was pointless. No pain was empty. Every delay served a purpose, and that purpose is now becoming clear. The development has positioned you for doors you once did not have the strength, the clarity, or the maturity to handle. And as those doors open, you will realize that God did not take anything from you. He prepared you to receive more than you imagined. There is a gentle strength that fills the atmosphere when you begin to realize that the favor of God is not something you chase. It is something that finds you when the time is right. And as we step into this third keynote, I want you to let that truth settle softly over your spirit like warm light breaking through a long night. Favor is not random. Favor is not accidental. Favor is not selective in the way people are selected. Favor is intentional. Favor is targeted. Favor knows your name, your address, your assignment, your struggles, your prayers, your sacrifices, and your timeline. When I tell you that favor is locating you and repositioning your financial trajectory, I am speaking into the very core of who you are, into the part of you that has wondered if your effort mattered, if your prayers were heard, if your faith was seen, if your endurance was worth it. Yes, it was, because favor responds to faithfulness. Favor has a way of showing up when everything else feels exhausted. When your strength feels worn, favor steps in. When your resources feel depleted, favor steps in. When your opportunities seem limited, favor steps in. Favor does not need a perfect situation. It needs a willing vessel. And you have been willing to keep going, willing to keep believing, willing to keep hoping, willing to keep praying, willing to keep standing, even when disappointment tried to buckle your knees. Favor is drawn to that kind of resilience, that kind of faith, that kind of spiritual posture. You didn't endure for nothing. You didn't pray for nothing. You didn't hold on for nothing. Favor saw it all and has been moving toward you quietly but powerfully. Repositioning is a deep word. It means God is shifting you from one state of being into another. He is shifting your financial trajectory, not just giving you temporary blessings, but changing the direction and momentum of your entire financial future. Trajectories determine outcomes. And in this season, God is bending the arc of your future upward. Where you were headed is not where you will end. What seemed inevitable is being rewritten. What looked limited is being expanded. Favor alters the path. Favor bends the laws. Favor accelerates timelines. Favor creates openings in places that were once closed. Favor introduces people you could not have met on your own. Favor gives you access to rooms your qualifications could not enter. Favor multiplies what your hands release. Favor turns scarcity into unexpected abundance. There are moments in life when you don't need more effort, you need more favor. And that is exactly what God is releasing over you. Some things in your life will not change because you work harder. They will change because the wind of favor begins to blow behind you. When favor breathes on your finances, you begin to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You see solutions where you once saw impossible walls. You see divine timing unfold in ways that exceed strategy, planning, or logic. Favor is heaven's endorsement. It is God saying, I am with you in this. I am supporting you in this. I am backing you in this. And many of you are entering a season where favor is going to make up for the years you felt overlooked. Favor is going to make up for the moments you were undervalued. Favor is going to make up for the doors that closed without explanation. Favor is going to make up for the opportunities you lost to circumstances beyond your control. Favor is going to realign what life attempted to derail. When God releases favor, it doesn't just push you forward. It redeems the time behind you. It recovers the value of every tear, every setback, every disappointment. Nothing you went through will be wasted. Favor repurposes pain. It transforms losses into lessons, lessons into wisdom, and wisdom into elevation. And favor is not coming alone. It is bringing clarity. With it, it is bringing strategy. With it, it is bringing insight. With it, when your financial trajectory shifts, your mindset shifts as well. You begin to think differently about money, work, opportunity, relationships, purpose, and stewardship. You begin to recognize the difference between distraction and assignment. You begin to discern which doors are God's doors and which doors are traps. Favor sharpens your discernment. It recalibrates your decision making. It awakens you to possibilities you were previously blinded to by stress, fear, or lack. Some of you have been living under a shadow of limitation, not because you are incapable, but because circumstances taught you to shrink. Life conditioned you to expect little. People conditioned you to settle. But favor is enlarging your capacity to believe again. It is stretching your vision. It is reminding you that God's plans for you were never small, never narrow, never fragile. You were created for impact. You were created for expansion. You were created to handle more than you have ever handled before. And favor is calling you into that reality. Repositioning also means relocation, not always physical, but mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial relocation. Some of you are being moved out of cycles of poverty into cycles of productivity, out of cycles of mismanagement into cycles of wisdom, out of cycles of fear-based decisions into cycles of faith-based action, out of environments where your gifts were suppressed into environments where your gifts will flourish. Favor relocates you. It lifts you into rooms where your voice is valued. It places you into circles where your potential is recognized. It shifts you out of seasons of stagnation into seasons of momentum. This repositioning is already happening in the spirit even before you see it in the natural. You may feel discomfort right now. Like something is moving inside you, like desires are changing, like priorities are rearranging, like certain things don't fit anymore. That discomfort is not confusion, it is spiritual stretching. It is God preparing you for the elevation connected to the favor that is finding you. Every time God repositions you, he expands you first. He stretches your faith, your vision, your understanding, your expectations, because new levels require new lenses. And now I want to ask you a question, one that will require honesty, vulnerability, and reflection. If God's favor were to open a major financial door for you this week, would you be ready to walk through it with confidence, discipline, and wisdom? Truly think about that. Because the door is coming, the shift is coming, the favor is already on its way. Your answer matters not to me, but to your own spirit. I want you to go into the comments and write your answer, not a long explanation, just your answer, yes or no. And if your answer is no, write this declaration instead. God, prepare me for what you are sending. Favor is not delayed. It is not uncertain. It is not hesitant. It is moving toward you with intention. You may not see the full picture yet, but it is unfolding piece by piece. You may not feel fully qualified, but favor qualifies you. You may not know how every detail will come together, but favor orchestrates what you cannot. You may not know who God will use, but favor works through willing vessels. You may not know how quickly the ship will come, but favor accelerates what was once stagnant. There is a softness to this season, a gentle grace that is resting on your efforts, your ideas, your hands. Things that were difficult will begin to ease. Conversations that were stuck will begin to move. Opportunities that were hidden will begin to appear. You will notice small signs of favor first. A yes where there was once a no, a connection that feels divinely timed, a solution that appears unexpectedly, a burden that lifts without explanation. Pay attention to these signs. They are indicators that the trajectory of your financial life is turning. And as favor locates you, it will also protect you. God is not only elevating you, He is shielding you from what could hinder your elevation. Some doors will remain closed because they are beneath the level God is calling you to. Some relationships will fade because they cannot carry the weight of your next season. Some opportunities will dissolve because they would have diverted your destiny. This too is favor. Favor is not only addition, it is subtraction. It removes what could sabotage your future. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. Heaven has been preparing a ship for you, and now favor is aligning with your name, your purpose, and your next level. You are stepping into a season of divine repositioning where your financial story begins to change direction. The small beginnings, the quiet faithfulness, the hidden sacrifices, God saw them all, and favor is responding. You are moving from survival into stability, from stability into strength, from strength into overflow. And even now, as you listen, something inside you knows this is true. Something in your spirit recognizes that this is not just encouragement, it is confirmation. You are being positioned for more, prepared for more, entrusted with more. Favor has found you, and it is shifting everything connected to you. There is a quiet movement in the unseen places of your life, a divine orchestration happening in realms you cannot touch with your hands or measure with your logic. And as we lean into this fourth keynote, I want you to let your breath soften and your heart open, because this is where the mystery of God's faithfulness becomes personal. When I say that heaven is orchestrating people, resources, and opportunities on your behalf, I'm not speaking poetically, I'm speaking spiritually. God is arranging details you didn't even know needed arranging. He is preparing pathways you didn't know existed. He is sending help that you didn't know you needed, aligning conversations you didn't know were happening, and positioning people you haven't even met yet in the quiet. God is constructing the future you prayed for. There is something comforting about knowing that you do not walk through life alone. Even when you feel isolated, misunderstood, or overlooked, heaven is not silent. Heaven is active. The Spirit of God is constantly working on the canvas of your life, applying strokes of grace, strokes of mercy, strokes of favor, strokes of divine alignment. Nothing about your journey is accidental. The people who entered your life, the ones who left, the ones who stayed, the ones who blessed you, the ones who challenged you, all of them played a role in shaping the environment necessary for your next breakthrough. But now God is sending a new wave of alignment, new people, new voices, new connections, new opportunities, new access points. Each one is part of the orchestration, part of a divine composition written with your destiny in mind. Have you ever noticed how certain people appear at the perfect time? How an opportunity shows up just when you felt like giving up? How a conversation leads to clarity you had been praying for? These moments are not coincidence. They are confirmation that heaven has been moving all along. God uses people like bridges, connecting you to places you could not reach on your own. Sometimes He sends mentors to instruct you. Sometimes He sends supporters to encourage you. Sometimes He sends challengers to strengthen you. Sometimes He sends dreamers to inspire you. And sometimes He sends warriors to help you fight spiritual battles that you were never meant to fight alone. Every person heaven sends serves a purpose. They help position you for the doors God intends to open. And then there are resources, unexpected, unplanned, and often unconventional. Resources are not limited to money. They can be opportunities, information, connections, wisdom, creativity, open doors, or simply the right idea at the right moment. God is a master of resource distribution. He knows what you need, how much you need, and when you need it. He knows how to get provision into your hands even when circumstances make it look impossible. He knows how to send exactly what is required to move you into your next season. Some resources will come through people, others will come through revelation. Some will flow through unexpected channels. Others will appear in the form of new strength, new inspiration, or new strategy. God is not limited to earthly systems. Heaven has its own economy, its own timing, its own supply chain. Whatever you lack, God already has prepared. Opportunity is another instrument God uses in his orchestration. Opportunity is not always loud. It doesn't always come with fanfare. Sometimes it appears quietly, disguised as a simple task or a small step. Sometimes it comes in the form of a challenge that pushes you into growth. Sometimes it arrives through a conversation you didn't plan to have. Opportunity is heaven's invitation to step into a higher dimension of purpose. And before December 10th, God is aligning opportunities that will connect directly to your financial shift. Some may look intimidating at first, but they are wrapped in favor. Some may seem too simple, but they carry long-term potential. Some may require faith, but they will yield harvest. God is not just opening one door. He is aligning an ecosystem of support around you. People you haven't met yet are already being prepared to say yes to you. Systems are adjusting to make room for you. Policies are shifting to accommodate your progress. Conversations are happening in rooms where your name is being mentioned with honor. Some blessings are already on their way, moving toward you like waves drawn to the shore. You may not see the movement yet, but you can feel the stirring. Your spirit senses that change is near. What is beautiful about divine orchestration is that God does not require your permission to begin. He only requires your willingness to receive. When you surrender your timeline, your expectations, your fears, and your logic, you create space for God's supernatural alignment to flow unhindered. It is in these moments of surrender that the orchestration becomes visible. You start to notice small signs, doors that begin to crack open, people who begin to show interest, ideas that begin to form, clarity that begins to appear. These signs are spiritual breadcrumbs leading you toward manifestation. Sometimes God orchestrates through separation. He removes people who no longer align with your purpose. He closes doors that once brought comfort but no longer contribute to your growth. He ends seasons that you tried to cling to. All of this is part of the divine arrangement. You cannot receive new alignment while clinging to old attachments. God is making room in your relationships, room in your mind, room in your finances, room in your spirit for what he is sending. And though the process of letting go can feel painful, it is often the first step to divine orchestration. And there is timing. Timing is crucial. Timing is God's signature. You can have the right idea at the wrong time and it will not flourish. You can meet the right person too early and the connection will not bear fruit. God's orchestration is not just about alignment, it is about timing. There is a reason this financial shift is coming before December 10th. There's a reason God is prompting you to prepare. There is a reason your spirit feels expectant. Heaven is aligning the timing with the assignment. Everything is being synchronized. Divine orchestration also brings peace, not because everything makes sense, but because you begin to trust the one who is arranging it. You don't have to understand every detail. You don't have to figure out every step. You don't have to carry the burden of control. God is the conductor and your life is the symphony. All you need to do is remain sensitive to his leading. When he nudges you to move, move. When he nudges you to wait, wait. When he nudges you to speak, speak. When he nudges you to release, release. The orchestration requires your obedience, but the outcome is his responsibility. Some of you have been trying to orchestrate your life on your own, forcing doors open, chasing validation, relying on your own strength, trying to push outcomes into existence. But this season is different. This season is about surrender. This season is about alignment. This season is about letting God do what only God can do. You are not stepping into this breakthrough by striving. You are stepping into it by flowing. Flowing with his direction, flowing with his timing, flowing with his guidance. Even now, as you listen, God is arranging the next steps. Heaven is setting the stage. The right people are being moved into position. The right opportunities are being prepared. The right resources are being released. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. And the orchestration is unfolding in perfect order. You will soon look back and realize that every connection, every redirection, every delay, every closed door, every yes, every no, every detour was part of a divine design leading you to where God intended all along. Heaven has been working for you, not against you, preparing you, not punishing you, aligning you, not abandoning you. Even when you couldn't see the movement, there was movement. Even when you couldn't feel progress, there was progress. Even when nothing made sense, the orchestration made sense. And soon it will all come together into a beautiful unveiling of God's faithfulness in your financial life, your spiritual life, and your destiny. There is a soft, reassuring comfort that enters the room when you begin to understand that you were never meant to walk into God's promises passively. You step into them by faith. Faith that is active, attentive, and willing to stretch beyond what your eyes see. And as we enter this fifth keynote, let your heart grow still and your spirit become receptive, because this is where your participation in the unfolding of your breakthrough becomes essential. When I say that you must activate your faith and posture yourself to receive what God is releasing, I am speaking to something deep within you, something that has been stirring, rising, trying to awaken again after seasons of disappointment and delay. Your next level is not only about what God is doing for you, it is also about what you are willing to believe, prepare for, and step into. Faith is not noise. Faith is not frantic emotion. Faith is alignment. Your spirit aligning with the truth of what God has spoken, even when your circumstances seem to contradict it. Faith is a posture. Faith is a decision. Faith is an atmosphere you create around your life. When you activate your faith, you open the door for heaven's movement to flow unhindered into your situation. It is impossible to receive what you have not prepared your heart to believe for. And many times, the breakthrough God sends can be standing right in front of a person, but the posture of their heart prevents them from recognizing it. Faith sharpens recognition. Faith awakens awareness. Faith expands capacity. There is a certain calmness that comes with deep faith, not the surface level faith that depends on good days and smooth circumstances, but the kind of faith that has been tested, stretched, and matured. The kind of faith that grew roots during seasons when nothing seemed to change. The kind of faith that learned to trust God, not because life was easy, but because God was faithful, even when life was not. This faith is not loud. It is steady. It is not anxious. It is anchored. It is not fragile. It is fortified. This is the faith you are being invited to step into now. The faith that prepares you to receive the 5 financial doors God is opening for you. Faith requires preparation. Preparation is a prophetic action. When you prepare for something before you see it, you declare with your actions that you believe God will do what he said. Preparation creates space. Preparation organizes your life in expectation. Preparation sends a signal to heaven that you are ready for increase. For some, activating faith might mean clearing mental clutter, letting go of doubt, fear, or limiting beliefs that have suffocated your expectations. For others, it may mean organizing finances, building disciplined planning with wisdom, or saying yes to opportunities that previously felt intimidating. For others still, it may mean letting go of excuses and stepping boldly into the unknown. Faith does not just feel, it moves. Sometimes activating your faith means speaking differently. Words create atmosphere. Words either build expectation or dismantle it. When you speak in alignment with God's promises, you reinforce your spiritual posture. When you speak words of doubt, fear, or defeat, you weaken that posture. Your faith must be expressed not only through what you believe internally, but through what you declare outwardly. Speak over your life. Speak over your finances. Speak over your opportunities. Speak over your mind. Speak over your future. Speak not according to what is, but according to what God has revealed. Faith speaks into the darkness until light appears. Faith also requires stillness at times, a quiet trust that rests in God's ability rather than trying to force outcomes through human effort. This does not mean being passive. It means being spiritually composed. It means holding peace in the midst of uncertainty, knowing that God is working even when you cannot see movement. Stillness is a spiritual discipline. It is the refusal to let anxiety run your life. It is the decision to anchor yourself in God's promises rather than in temporary circumstances. This stillness does not come naturally. It comes through intentional focus, prayer, and surrender. Your posture matters. Posture is not physical, it is spiritual. It is the way your heart stands before God. It is the level of openness, willingness, humility, and readiness you bring into your relationship with Him. Some postures block blessings: pride, fear, bitterness, discouragement, complacency. Other postures attract blessings: gratitude, expectation, surrender, obedience, consistency. When your posture shifts, your spiritual atmosphere shifts. And when your atmosphere shifts, favor flows more freely. God is not asking you to strain for blessings. He is asking you to position yourself so you can receive them without resistance. Posturing yourself to receive also means staying spiritually awake. Opportunities can pass by those who are spiritually asleep, those who are distracted, overwhelmed, or disconnected from God's voice. God is always speaking, always guiding, always nudging. But the noise of life can drown out His whispers if your heart is not tuned to Him. This is a season to quiet distractions, to prioritize your spiritual sensitivity, to listen intentionally, to pay attention to internal nudges, sudden clarity, unexpected ideas, or divine connections. These small moments are often indicators that God is positioning you for something greater. And then there is obedience. Faith without obedience remains dormant. Obedience is what activates what faith believes. Obedience is often the final step before breakthrough manifests. Sometimes God will ask you to do something that does not make sense. Something simple, something small, something humble. But that action becomes the key to unlocking the door He has prepared. Obedience is trust expressed through movement. Obedience says, God, I don't fully understand, but I am willing. And heaven responds to willingness. Disobedience, on the other hand, delays what God intends to release. Not because God is punishing you, but because you are not aligned with the flow of His direction. Alignment is everything in this season. Alignment ensures that when the financial doors open, you are standing in the right place with the right posture to step through them. Misalignment makes open doors look inaccessible. Alignment makes them unmistakably clear. Some of you have been praying for breakthrough while unknowingly holding on to patterns that contradict the very breakthrough you desire. Activating your faith may require a shift in habits, a shift in the way you handle money, a shift in how you manage time, a shift in how you steward your gifts, a shift in how you respond to challenges. Faith invites transformation. True faith will always ask something of you, not as a burden, but as preparation. Now, I want you to understand this with gentle clarity. Receiving is a skill. Many people know how to pray, but few know how to receive. Receiving requires openness. It requires humility. It requires trust. It requires the willingness to allow God to bless you even when you don't feel worthy. It requires letting go of guilt, shame, or feelings of inadequacy. Some people push blessings away because they believe they have to earn everything. But grace does not work like that. Favor does not work like that. God does not move according to man-made formulas. He moves according to purpose, promise, and love. Receiving requires room. God will never fill a space that is already occupied by fear, clutter, indecision, or stagnation. This is why he nudges you to release old things, old mindsets, old habits, old disappointments. He is making room for the new. You cannot receive with closed hands. You cannot receive with a heart that is clinging to what is familiar but no longer fruitful. Make room. Not just physically, but spiritually and mentally. Make room for ideas. Make room for guidance. Make room for increase. Make room for change. This is the season where God is inviting you to stretch, to expand beyond what you've known, to believe at a deeper level, to prepare with greater intentionality, because the doors are coming, the breakthroughs are coming, the shifts are coming. But your preparation determines your participation. God is not withholding anything from you. He is preparing you to handle what he is releasing with wisdom and stability. Even now, something in you knows that faith is rising again, that hope is being restored, that your posture is shifting. You can feel it, you can sense it. The heaviness you carried is beginning to lift. The doubt that clouded your vision is beginning to thin. The fear that tried to silence you is losing its grip. God is strengthening you internally so you can receive externally. He is preparing your spirit for increase. He is preparing your heart for abundance. He is preparing your mind for opportunities. He is preparing your hands for stewardship. You do not activate faith for God's benefit. You activate faith for your own. You do not posture yourself to impress heaven. You posture yourself to receive heaven's flow. And in this moment, heaven is responding to your willingness, your stillness, your preparation, your openness. All God needs is your yes. All he needs is your agreement. All he needs is your alignment. And as you activate your faith in this season, you will not just see doors open, you will walk through them with clarity, strength, and confidence. You will not just receive blessings, you will sustain them. You will not just experience breakthrough, you will embody it. As we bring this message to a gentle close, I want you to sit with the awareness that something has shifted within you. Not loudly, not dramatically, but quietly, like the soft turning of a key inside a locked door. Your spirit has opened, your faith has risen, and your heart has begun to align with what God has spoken over your life. You are not leaving this moment the same way you entered it. The word has settled, the assurance has settled, the peace has settled, and you are stepping forward with a calm confidence that the God who began the work is faithful to fulfill it. You have heard the call to expect, to prepare, to position yourself, and to believe again. Let these truths stay with you long after this message ends. Carry them into your thoughts when doubt tries to resurface. Carry them into your decisions when fear tries to stop you. Carry them into your prayers when weariness tries to whisper that nothing will change. You now know better. You know heaven is moving. You know doors are aligning. You know favor is locating you. You know development was never denial. Let this knowing become the quiet strength that guides your next steps. Take a moment to breathe and let gratitude rise in your heart. Gratitude for what God has already done, gratitude for what he is doing right now, and gratitude for what is on its way. Gratitude is a magnet for miracles, When you thank God for blessings you haven't even seen yet, you show him that your faith is alive and active. Let your gratitude be the gentle worship that fills the atmosphere of your life, making room for the financial, spiritual, and personal breakthroughs that are heading toward you even now. And as you continue your journey, remember that God is not just opening doors. He is elevating you, shaping you, strengthening you, and aligning you with your destiny. You are stepping into a season of clarity, opportunity, provision, and supernatural unfolding. Nothing about this moment is ordinary. Nothing about your future is small. You are walking into a divine timeline crafted by a God who has never failed you and never will. Trust the process, honor the preparation, and keep your heart surrendered. Before you go, seal this moment with action. Like the video, subscribe for daily prayers and teachings, and write Amen in the comments to declare your agreement with heaven. And share one thing you're believing God for. Let your faith be seen, heard, and activated. You've stepped into alignment today. And great things are already being prepared for you. Beloved, as we stand on the threshold of a divine turnaround, I declare over you that before the 15th of December, something supernatural is about to break open in your life. The atmosphere around you is shifting even now. Heaven is aligning resources, favor, and unexpected breakthroughs to meet you right where you are. I sense the Spirit of the Lord stirring, moving, and dismantling the very systems that have tried to hold you in cycles of lack and limitation. Today, as you engage in this prophetic prayer, prepare your heart, because debt cancellation is not just a desire, it is becoming your reality. Some of you have been carrying financial burdens silently, smiling on the outside while wrestling with pressure on the inside. But hear me in the Spirit. God is stepping into your situation with power and precision. The same God who multiplied the widow's oil, the same God who wiped out every debt owed by his servants, is moving with intentionality toward you. Angels are being dispatched, doors are unlocking, and every barrier standing between you and your financial freedom is being shattered. Your name is being lifted into rooms where decisions will shift in your favor, and what seemed impossible will be settled suddenly. So as we enter this moment of prayer, open your spirit to receive what heaven has already released. Debt cancellation is not coming, it has begun. Miracles are in motion, and prophetic acceleration is overtaking your timeline. Engage your faith, lift your expectancy, and position yourself for a divine reversal. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for daily prophetic prayers. Write Amen in the comments, and also comment one thing you're believing God for today, because this is your moment of supernatural breakthrough. As we step into this sacred moment, I want you to breathe deeply and allow your spirit to settle into a place of peace, because what I am about to declare over your life carries weight in the realm of the Spirit. God is accelerating supernatural debt cancellation before December 15, and he is positioning you for financial freedom in ways you may not even fully comprehend yet. There is a divine orchestration taking place behind the scenes, a heavenly movement that is shifting your circumstances, even when everything around you appears unchanged. I want you to understand that when God speaks a word, when he releases a prophetic decree, the natural realm must eventually bow to the spiritual laws that govern the universe. And right now, heaven has issued a decree concerning you. The burden you have been carrying financially is being lifted. The yoke of debt is being destroyed. And the weight that is pressed against your chest, your mind, and your peace is being broken. Some of you have walked through seasons where financial strain became an unwelcome companion. You've tried to strategize, you've tried to budget, you've tried to stretch the little you had, and still the numbers never seem to align. But the Spirit of the Lord is saying that this is not the season where you will strive. This is the season where you will witness divine intervention. For every sleepless night, every moment of quiet frustration, every tear shed in secret because you didn't know how God would do it, heaven has collected them. And now, as we approach December 15th, There is a spiritual countdown underway, not toward pressure, but toward release. The supernatural hand of God is moving with intention, targeting every area where debt has tried to plant itself in your life. It will not survive the move of God that is coming. It will not withstand the fire of his presence. It will not continue to dictate your decisions or your destiny. Imagine for a moment the way God moves in Scripture. Every time his people faced bondage, whether physical or financial, he never left them in that condition. He always made a way. With the Israelites, he parted the Red Sea. With the prophet's widow, he multiplied her oil until every debt was paid. With the disciples, he filled their nets until their boats nearly sank. In every story, he revealed himself as the God who breaks limitation. And today, he's revealing himself to you as the God who cancels debts. Not by your might, not by your power, but by his Spirit. There is no debt too large, no contract too binding, no interest too high, no timeline too tight for God to intervene. When he says it is time for your release, everything in creation bows to that word. What is happening right now is not simply financial improvement. It is spiritual realignment. God is repositioning you, preparing you to step into a new level of freedom where money will no longer control your emotions or your decisions. He is removing the chains that debt tried to wrap around your destiny. You may not see the full picture yet, but in the Spirit, things are already shifting. Accounts are being reviewed. Systems are being adjusted. Opportunities are forming. People who were previously indifferent to your situation will suddenly feel compelled to assist you. Decisions that were delayed will begin to move swiftly. What was held up will be released. What was denied will be reconsidered. God is accelerating the process so that before December 15, you will know without a shadow of a doubt that it was his hand and not your own effort that brought you out. I want you to begin to picture what freedom feels like. Picture waking up without anxiety pressing on your chest. Picture not avoiding certain phone calls or emails because you fear what they might contain. Picture having room to breathe, room to plan, room to dream again. Debt has a way of suffocating vision, of making you feel small, of shrinking your expectations. But God is rewriting your story. He is restoring your ability to dream bigger than your current circumstances. He is restoring the clarity that financial pressure clouded. He is restoring the joy that was overshadowed by worry. The peace you have been craving is already flowing toward you. The relief you have longed for is closer than you think. This acceleration is not random. It is strategic. God is setting you up for a season of expansion that debt could not accompany you into. Debt was a hindrance, a weight, a limitation, and God never intended for you to carry it into the next phase of your assignment. So he is clearing the path. He is removing obstacles. He is ensuring that when he opens the next door for you, you will walk through it unburdened and unrestricted. This is why the timing matters. Before December 15, there is a spiritual deadline tied to your next level, and debt cannot cross that threshold with you. God is honoring your faithfulness, your endurance, your willingness to trust him, even when pressure increased. He is honoring your prayers, your sacrifices, and your quiet commitment to keep going, even when you felt overwhelmed. Right now, the spirit of heaviness is lifting off of you. You may not feel it instantly, but in the supernatural realm, something has already broken. The chains of debt are losing their grip. The strongholds connected to financial struggle are crumbling. The cycles that repeated themselves year after year are coming to an end. There is a fresh wind blowing in your direction, bringing with it solutions, favor, and breakthrough. God is accelerating this because he knows the timeline of your destiny. He knows what he has prepared for you in the coming months and years. He knows that financial freedom is not optional for where he is taking you. It is necessary. You have been faithful in the wilderness seasons. You have survived the pressure that would have crushed someone else. You have continued to pray, continued to hope, continued to believe, even when circumstances told you that belief was foolish. But God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him, and he is about to reward your faith in a way that will leave no room for doubt. Debt cancellation is not just something you will read about or hear testimonies of in other people's lives. This time, it has your name on it. This time, heaven is targeting your situation. This time, the miracle is coming to your house. I want you to sense the calmness of God settling around you. His peace is wrapping itself around your mind. His assurance is steadying your heart. You don't have to figure out how it will happen. You don't have to analyze every possible pathway. God is the architect of this miracle. He is designing the details. He is orchestrating the connections. He is preparing the release. All you need to do is remain in a posture of trust, remain prayerful, remain open, and remain expectant. The God who created the universe is not limited by numbers, deadlines, or circumstances. He operates outside of what confines you. And when he steps into your situation, everything must shift. As you continue to listen, let your spirit rest in the truth that God is moving on your behalf. He is not delayed. He is not distant. He is not undecided. He is deliberate, intentional, and fully committed to bringing you out of every form of financial bondage. He has seen the pressure. He has seen the frustration. He has seen the moments where you question whether things would ever get better. And now he is responding with power. Before December 15, you will witness the unfolding of his promise. You will see his faithfulness in tangible form. You will know that he is the God who cancels debts, lifts burdens, and restores peace. Let this word settle into the deepest places of your being. Let it anchor your heart. Let it steady your faith. Debt cancellation is not a distant hope. It is a present reality being ushered into your life by the Spirit of God. You are stepping into a new chapter, one marked by freedom, by abundance, by clarity, and by divine provision. And as surely as the sun rises, God will complete the work he has begun in you. Divine favor is unlocking unexpected resources, opportunities, and financial breakthroughs on your behalf. And I want you to settle into this truth with a calm and steady heart. As you listen, allow your spirit to lean into the presence of God, because what he is doing in your life right now is not surface level, temporary, or partial. It is deep, it is transformative, and it is strategic. The favor of God is not merely a concept or a hopeful phrase. It is a supernatural force that shifts outcomes, redirects decisions, and positions you in places you could never reach by human effort alone. Favor is God placing his hand on your situation and saying, let this one pass. Favor is God whispering your name into the ears of someone who has the power to bless you. Favor is God opening a door that no person, no system, and no circumstance can shut. And in this season, before December 15th, God's favor is working urgently and intentionally on your behalf. You may not see the movement yet, but in the unseen realm, things are rearranging. People are being stirred, conversations are being initiated, resources are being unlocked, and opportunities that were once out of reach are beginning to gravitate toward you. This is not accidental. This is not coincidental. This is divine orchestration. When the favor of God rests on your life, it bypasses timelines, breaks limitations, and suspends natural laws. It creates pathways where there were none. It lifts you from the back to the front, from overlooked to chosen, from restricted to released. The quiet and steady work of God's favor is happening right now in places you have never stepped foot into. It is going before you, preparing the ground, making room for you. Some of you have been feeling stuck financially, spiritually, professionally, and you have wondered whether things will ever shift in your favor. You have questioned if your efforts, your prayers, and your sacrifices have been in vain. But hear this with peace in your spirit. God has not forgotten you. He has not overlooked your faithfulness or your tears. His favor is beginning to speak on your behalf in rooms you have never entered. This is not the season where you fight for every opportunity. This is the season where opportunities begin to find you. This is a season where doors that were once closed begin to swing open with unusual ease. This is the season where what once seemed impossible begins to unfold with beautiful simplicity. Favor attracts provision. It draws resources to you in ways that defy logic. Some of you are about to experience financial blessings that feel like they came out of nowhere. Unexpected checks, approvals that were previously denied, reductions of amounts owed, refunds, credits, adjustments, promotions, discounts, and open doors that lift financial strain off your shoulders. These moments are not random. They are signatures of divine favor. When God decides that it is your time to rise, nothing can block the flow of blessing that comes your way. You will be amazed at how effortlessly things begin to align. Calls will come through, emails will arrive, chance encounters will lead to breakthrough, and opportunities you didn't even know existed will be presented to you. Favor also realigns relationships. There are people God is removing from your life because they cannot contribute to where He is taking you, and there are others He is sending because they carry the keys to your next level. God is raising people who will speak well of you, advocate for you, and extend grace where others would have extended judgment. He is placing you on the hearts of people who have the ability to shift your circumstances. You won't have to push your way in. You won't have to strive to be seen. Favor shines a light on you that cannot be ignored. It draws support, compassion, and generosity from unexpected places. And in this season, God is unlocking a level of favor that accelerates your journey. Things that once took months will happen in weeks. Things that took weeks will happen in days. What you thought would take a year will be resolved in moments. Divine acceleration is the companion of divine favor. God is redeeming time for you. He is restoring opportunities that were lost. He is replacing what was stolen. He is elevating you beyond the limitations of your past. Favor does not simply lift you, it transforms you. It shifts your identity, your confidence, your perspective. It teaches you to expect good things, to anticipate breakthrough, to recognize that you are not operating in human strength. You are operating in the supernatural covering of God. This favor is not resting on you because you are perfect. It is resting on you because God chose you. He appointed you. He positioned you. His hand is upon your life, and that alone is enough. You may have felt unqualified, unseen, or inadequate, but favor compensates for what you feel you lack. Favor amplifies your strengths and covers your weaknesses. Favor places you in environments where you grow, thrive, and succeed. It places you in alignment with people who see the value in you that others overlooked. It positions you for promotions you didn't apply for, provisions you didn't expect, and breakthroughs you didn't even know you needed. This is a season where you must remain open. God's favor often arrives in forms you do not expect. It may come through a person, a decision, an opportunity, or even a closed door that redirects you to something far better. Favor is not always loud. Sometimes it is gentle. Sometimes it is the quiet protection of being kept away from something that would have harmed you. Sometimes it is the subtle movement of being guided into the right moment at the right time. Sometimes it is the internal strength to persevere until breakthrough arrives. Everything God is doing right now is preparing you to receive more than you lost, more than you dreamed, more than you imagined. As you listen, let your heart find rest. Favor is not fragile. It will not slip away. It will not diminish because of circumstances. It is anchored in God's intention for your life. Even when things appear slow or stagnant, favor is working beneath the surface, arranging outcomes in your favor. There is a supernatural current pulling you toward what has been ordained for you. There is a gentle but persistent push of the Spirit guiding you into opportunities that fit the blueprint of your destiny. You are not behind. You are right on schedule for what God has planned. Divine favor also brings clarity. It removes confusion, lifts discouragement, and sharpens your vision. It helps you see possibilities where you once saw obstacles. It helps you recognize that not every delay is a denial. Some delays are divine protection. Favor reorients your mindset from scarcity to expectancy. It teaches your spirit to say, something good is coming toward me. And truly, something good is coming toward you. Something life-changing, something that will shift your financial situation, your emotional well-being, and your spiritual alignment. Before December 15, expect unusual movement. Expect calls that shift your trajectory. Expect approvals that once seemed impossible. Expect an inflow of resources. Expect solutions to problems that felt complicated. Expect the lifting of burdens that kept you awake at night. Expect the subtle but undeniable evidence that God's favor is covering you like a shield. Open your hands, open your heart, and open your mind. Do not limit how God can bless you. Do not limit the channels he can use. Favor flows through pathways you cannot predict. Stay willing, stay expectant, stay aligned. God's favor is not only unlocking resources for you, it is unlocking confidence within you. You will begin to walk differently, speak differently, believe differently. You will sense doors opening with greater ease. You will feel the weight of financial fear loosening its grip. You will notice divine patterns, divine timing, divine connections. The stress that once clouded your thoughts will begin to dissipate as peace takes root. This peace is not manufactured. It is evidence that God is working. It is evidence that you are no longer carrying the burden alone. It is evidence that heaven is leaning in your direction. Take a deep breath and let this truth settle over you. Divine favor is working for you right now, not later, not someday, now. It is flowing into your finances, into your relationships, into your responsibilities, into your opportunities, into your decision making. You are stepping into a realm of grace where things that were once difficult become achievable. You are stepping into a season where your steps are ordered with precision. You are stepping into a flow where resources meet you instead of you chasing them. You are stepping into alignment with God's perfect timing. Everything around you may still look the same, but everything in the spirit has already shifted. Favor has gone before you. Favor is surrounding you. Favor is following you. Favor is unlocking what was locked. Favor is releasing what was withheld. Favor is elevating what was suppressed. Favor is preparing the testimony you will soon share. And you will testify, not from a place of struggle, but from a place of victory, gratitude, and awe at what God has done in your life. Every spiritual and natural barrier delaying your financial release is being dismantled by the power of God. And as you listen, I want you to allow a deep, calming assurance to settle into your spirit. This is not a moment of striving or pushing. It is a moment of surrendering to the truth that God is fighting for you, working for you, and clearing the path ahead of you. There have been forces, seen and unseen, that try to hinder your progress, limit your resources, and keep you bound in cycles of lack. Some of these barriers were external, formed through circumstances, decisions, or systems that felt beyond your control. Others were internal, shaped by fear, doubt, or the echoes of past failures. But in this sacred moment, God is breaking every single one of them. Nothing that has risen against your financial breakthrough will withstand his intervention. You may not fully recognize how many barriers have surrounded you. Some have been silent, invisible, subtle. Barriers in the spiritual realm that manipulated opportunities, delayed approvals, or created unnecessary resistance every time you tried to move forward. Barriers that made simple things feel complicated, that turned short processes into long battles, that made you feel like you were always starting from behind. But hear this with a calm and steady heart. God is dismantling them now, one by one, piece by piece, layer by layer. Every wall that stood before your financial freedom is being torn down by the strength of his hand. There have been moments where you wondered, why is this taking so long? Why is everything so difficult for me? You tried to push through in your own strength, and still progress felt slow. You questioned whether you were missing something, whether you were not praying enough, not doing enough, not being enough. But the truth is, the delay was not because of your shortcomings. It was because there were spiritual forces resisting your advancement. And now God is stepping into the battle. He is dealing with everything you could not see, everything you could not control, everything you did not even know was working against you. He is confronting every assignment of lack, every demonic structure of delay, every generational pattern that tried to keep you financially bound. And as he dismantles these barriers, you will feel the atmosphere around your life lighten. You will feel a shift, subtle at first, and then undeniable. Things will begin to move with more ease. Opportunities that once felt far away will suddenly feel within reach. Processes that once took months will begin to accelerate. Conversations that were once stagnant will open up. Solutions will appear that you never considered before. This is the power of God clearing the path for you. When he removes barriers, nothing can stand in the way of what he has ordained. There is also a breaking of internal barriers taking place within you. Sometimes the greatest chains are not external, but internal. Fear of failure, fear of not having enough, fear of making the wrong decision, fear shaped by past disappointments, financial trauma, or seasons where you lacked support. These internal barriers quietly influence how you see opportunities, how you make financial decisions, how boldly you step into what God is giving you. But listen closely. God is calming your fears. He is softening the memories that once frightened you. He is healing the wounds connected to financial loss, disappointment, or instability. He is planting new confidence in you. Confidence rooted not in your income, your achievements, or your resources, but in his sovereignty. He is shifting your mindset from, I hope it works out, to I know God will make a way. From I'm afraid to try again to I am stepping forward with courage. From I've always struggled in this area to this time will be different because God is involved. This internal shift is just as important as the external breakthrough. When both align, your spirit rising in faith and God clearing barriers, you begin to move into supernatural rhythm. And this is exactly what is happening for you now. God is realigning your environment. He is resetting your timeline. He is cleansing your atmosphere of spiritual resistance. He is releasing you from the patterns that once controlled you. You will no longer feel like something invisible is blocking your progress. You will no longer feel like every step forward comes with 2 steps back. The cycle of near breakthroughs followed by sudden setbacks is breaking. The pattern of almost there but not quite is dissolving. God is declaring an end to delay. Do you sense the stillness coming over you? That is God's peace, confirming that he is working. You do not have to fight this battle alone. You do not have to carry the weight of figuring everything out. You do not have to exhaust yourself trying to break barriers with your own strength. God is stepping into the equation. He is going before you. He is leveling the mountains, breaking the gates of bronze, cutting the bars of iron. Nothing can resist his power, not debt, not systems, not circumstances, not spiritual opposition. Financial blockages that have been in place for years are being uprooted. Opportunities that should have been yours long ago are being released. Doors that were once shut are opening. Hidden resources are emerging. People who overlooked you will begin to notice you. People who rejected you will reconsider. People who dismissed your value will recognize your worth. This is what happens when God removes barriers. Your life shifts, not gradually, but dramatically. As the barriers fall, clarity will rise within you. You will think differently. You will plan differently. You will trust differently. You will make decisions not from a place of fear, but from a place of faith and stability. The noise of confusion will quiet down. The heaviness of disappointment will lift. The tension of constant financial pressure will ease. God is not just clearing the path around you, He is clearing the atmosphere within you. Let your heart rest in this. What stood against you is no longer standing. What resisted you is losing its grip. What delayed you is being removed. What intimidated you is being silenced. You are stepping into a season where the path forward is smooth, open, and aligned with the promises God has spoken over your life. You will feel the shift in your finances, in your opportunities, in your relationships, in your decisions. You will recognize that it is God's hand making things possible, not luck, not coincidence, not human effort, but divine intervention. And now I want to ask you something softly and gently, because your answer matters not only to you, but to what God is unfolding in your life. What barrier have you felt pressing against your financial breakthrough? What is the one thing that has made you say, God, why is this so hard? I want you to write it in the comments, because acknowledging it is the first step toward releasing it. And as you write, let your spirit declare that barrier broken, removed, dismantled by the power of God. One more question, because reflection opens the spirit to transformation. If God removed that barrier completely today, how would your life change? What would you step into? What would you finally allow yourself to pursue? Write that as well. Your words carry power. Your confession aligns your spirit with what God is already doing. You are not listening to this by accident. You are not here by coincidence. This moment is a divine appointment. The barriers that stood against you for years are falling in this very season. The atmosphere is shifting. Your future is expanding, and God is guiding you into a place of freedom, clarity, and provision. Angelic assistance is being dispatched to align circumstances, people, and decisions in your favor. And I want you to let that truth wash over you like a gentle wave. Slow your breathing, quiet your mind, and allow your heart to enter a place of stillness. Because what God is doing in this season is not loud, chaotic, or forceful. It is calm, deliberate, and deeply spiritual. The presence of angels is surrounding you even now, not as a distant hope or poetic idea, but as a divine reality set in motion by God Himself. In moments where you felt alone, outnumbered, or overwhelmed, you were never without heavenly support. You were never navigating life's pressures by yourself. And as you approach this period before December 15, angelic movement has increased around you. The activity in the spiritual realm is intensifying, not to frighten you, but to reassure you that divine intervention is already underway. There are angels assigned to your life, assigned to your purpose, your provision, your protection, and your destiny. These angels are not passive observers. They are active participants in the unfolding of your breakthrough. Some of the resistance you faced was not because you were doing something wrong, but because the enemy sensed what God was preparing to release to you. And when God releases something, He releases protection around it. The angels moving on your behalf are pushing back opposition, disarming fear, dismantling confusion, and clearing spiritual debris from your path. They are preparing a straight way where there had been crookedness. They are softening hearts, shifting atmospheres, and influencing decisions that will soon bless you. You have been praying for clarity, for help, for direction, for relief. Sometimes the answer to a prayer is not a change you can immediately see. Sometimes the answer is the dispatching of angels. Before the door opens, angels prepare the hinges. Before the opportunity arrives, Angels adjust the environment. Before the blessing manifests, angels shift hearts, realign timings, and remove obstacles that could interfere with the assignment God has placed over your life. You might not see their movement with your natural eyes, but you can feel their influence in the peace that comes unexpectedly, in the strength that rises within you, in the way solutions appear just when you need them. Just as there have been moments in your life where something should have turned out far worse than it did, and somehow, without explanation, you were kept, protected, covered. That was angelic intervention. There were times when you were delayed, frustrated, or redirected, and later you realized that the delay saved your life or positioned you for something better. That was angelic alignment. You have walked into rooms where you felt unprepared or overlooked, yet favor met you there. That was the result of angels whispering your name into places where your physical presence had not yet reached. As you listen, allow yourself to recognize the quiet confidence that comes from knowing heaven is involved in your life. Angels are not moved by fear, pressure, or circumstances. They move by assignment, by divine instruction, and by spiritual authority. When God says help is coming, angels move instantly. When God says it is time for breakthrough, angels are released to gather what belongs to you. When God declares that a debt must be canceled or a door must open, angels enforce that decree in the unseen realm until it manifests in the natural. And in this season, they are aligning circumstances in ways you could never orchestrate on your own. They are working through people, even those unaware of their role in your story. Someone will feel led to show kindness. Someone will feel prompted to reconsider a decision. Someone will experience a sudden shift in perception that works in your favor. People who were indifferent will become supportive. People who were resistant will soften. People who were absent will appear at exactly the right moment. This is angelic influence guiding hearts, nudging thoughts, and smoothing the path for what God has promised you. God is also aligning decisions on your behalf, decisions in offices, in financial institutions, in administrative systems, in places where your voice cannot speak for you, but where your angels can. Angels can stand in rooms you cannot enter. They can shift meetings you are not invited to. They can influence outcomes long before they reach you. They can make sure your file rises to the top, your request is approved, your name is remembered, and your need is prioritized. The delays you once experienced will no longer hold you back because angels are now accelerating what belongs to you. There is a peace that comes when you know you are not fighting alone. You are not wrestling against systems and people purely in your own strength. You are not trying to convince the entire world to favor you. Heaven is working with you and for you. God has assigned heavenly beings to ensure that nothing and no one can interfere with the plans He has for your life. Angelic assistance means you are supported by a force that cannot be outmaneuvered, outpowered, or overturned. Angels are not intimidated by challenges. They are not discouraged by opposition. They do not retreat, grow weary, or become confused. They carry divine authority. As they move, you may begin to notice subtle shifts happening around you. Conversations will change, outcomes will change, people's attitudes will change. What once felt blocked will begin to open. What once felt stagnant will gain momentum. What once felt complicated will suddenly feel simple. This is the evidence of angelic alignment. Your job is not to force outcomes. It is to remain in a state of calm trust, knowing that heaven is doing what you cannot see. Your prayers have not been ignored. They have activated movement. Every cry, every whisper, every plea you sent to God has been heard, and He has responded with reinforcement. Angels are standing guard over your finances to prevent loss, delays, and unnecessary battles. They are standing watch over your mind to lift anxiety, fear, and overwhelm. They are guarding your home, your relationships, your opportunities. They are ensuring that the blessings assigned to you will not be stolen, mishandled, or misdirected. Some of you have felt a recent shift without understanding why. You feel lighter, clearer, more hopeful. That is angelic presence strengthening your spirit. Others have suddenly lost the desire to worry about things that used to consume your thoughts. That is angelic influence bringing peace. Some of you have sensed that something is about to happen, but you cannot explain it. That is because angels have already begun preparing your breakthrough. Let your spirit rest in this truth. You do not need to know every detail of how God is working to trust that He is working. You may not see angels, but you can feel the evidence of their assignment. You can sense the divine alignment taking place. You can feel the atmosphere shifting in your favor. And even now, as you sit in this moment, angels are moving. They are being dispatched to the places where decisions affecting your life are being made. They are touching the hearts of those who need to show you favor. They are rearranging the pieces of your life so that everything begins to flow together seamlessly. They are preparing the answers to prayers you have prayed for years. They are strengthening you for what is coming. This is not the season of struggle. It is the season of supernatural support. You are being held, guided, protected, and elevated by forces God Himself has positioned around you. Nothing is happening randomly. Nothing is out of order. Nothing is being aligned with divine precision. So as you breathe in this calm, peaceful moment, allow gratitude to rise within you. Not because everything is perfect, but because God has surrounded you with help you did not earn, help you did not ask for, and help you may not have even known you needed. His angels are working on your behalf, and their assignment will not fail. You are safe, you are supported, you are surrounded, and every step you take from this moment forward is being guided by heavenly hands, preparing the way of breakthrough. Your faith and prophetic obedience in this season will activate sudden miracles and long-awaited financial turnaround. And as you listen, I invite you to let your entire being settle into a gentle state of calm expectancy. There is a softness in this moment, a quiet invitation from God to align your heart with what He is releasing. Miracles often begin not with noise, but with stillness, not with striving, but with surrender, not with pressure, but with presence. And in this sacred environment, your faith is becoming a key that unlocks doors you did not even know existed. Your prophetic obedience, your willingness to respond to God's leading, even when you do not fully understand the why, is positioning you for sudden, accelerated transformation in areas where you have waited, struggled, and hoped for so long. Faith is not merely believing that something can happen. It is the spiritual posture of knowing that God is who He says He is, even when circumstances remain unchanged. It is the gentle but powerful assurance that whatever God has spoken over your life cannot return void. And in this season, God is calling you into a deeper dimension of faith, not the kind that demands proof, but the kind that rests in His presence, the kind that says, Lord, even if I do not see how, I trust that you already have a way. This quiet trust is shifting the atmosphere around you because faith is not passive, it is active. It moves, it stirs, it rearranges the spiritual environment. When you believe, truly believe, heaven responds. Angels move, doors unlock, resources begin to flow, and miracles, which once seemed distant, begin to take shape right before your eyes. Your prophetic obedience plays a significant role in this activation. Obedience opens pathways that logic cannot. There are instructions God places on your heart, small nudges, gentle impressions, moments when you feel led to act, to give, to pray, to release, to forgive, to shift your mindset, to speak words of faith instead of fear. These promptings are not insignificant. They are divine strategies wrapped in subtlety. When you obey, even in the smallest ways, you align yourself with God's movement. It is like stepping into a stream. Once you enter, the current carries you forward. Many of the miracles you will witness in this season will be directly connected to simple acts of obedience that seemed ordinary at the time, but were spiritually profound. God is a God of suddenlies. All throughout Scripture, we see moments where long periods of waiting were followed by instant breakthroughs, miracles that happened in a moment, shifts that happened in a breath. The Israelites wandered for years, but their entry into the promised land happened suddenly. The widow struggled with lack, but her provision through the oil came suddenly. These suddenlies were not random. They were the culmination of faith, obedience, divine timing, and spiritual alignment. And now you are stepping into your own suddenly. There are situations in your life that have lingered for far too long, financial burdens that have weighed heavily on your shoulders, doors that have remained closed despite your efforts, delays that have frustrated your spirit. But hear this gently and calmly. Those areas are the very places where sudden miracles are about to manifest. What has been stagnant will begin to move. What has been withheld will be released. What has been difficult will become effortless. Not because circumstances changed on their own, but because your faith and obedience created an opening for God's power to enter. Some of you have been faithful in seasons where you did not see results. You prayed, you fasted, you believed, you kept standing even when it felt like nothing was changing. But faith is never wasted. Every declaration you made, every seed of belief you planted, every moment you trusted when doubt tried to overtake you, those moments created spiritual momentum. And now that momentum is converging into a divinely appointed moment of breakthrough. The harvest of your faithfulness is arriving, not gradually, but suddenly. Miracles are not always loud. Sometimes they appear softly, quietly, almost unnoticed until you look back and realize, God, you did this. It may start with a message, an opportunity, a decision, a phone call, a conversation that shifts everything. It may begin with peace settling over your heart in an area that once brought anxiety. It may look like a door opening that had been shut for years. It may feel like a release of pressure that you didn't even know had become heavy. These are the signs that God is moving suddenly in your life. Your obedience prepares the way for these miracles. There may be things God is prompting you to do, releasing old fears, stepping out in faith, making a phone call, applying for something again, setting boundaries, reorganizing your priorities, or simply staying still when your instinct is to rush. Whatever God asks of you in this season is not to burden you, but to position you. Prophetic obedience is not always about grand actions. Sometimes it is about the quiet internal shifts that align your heart with God's plan. When your spirit says yes to God, even before you know what He is fully doing, it creates a pathway for miracles to arrive without resistance. Allow yourself to imagine what sudden breakthrough feels like. Imagine the weight lifting. Imagine the relief washing over your spirit. Imagine the clarity, the peace, the gratitude that comes when something you have prayed for becomes reality. Imagine your financial situation shifting in a moment, whether through unexpected resources, debt cancellation, settlement, favor, or divine intervention. God is not limited by time, by systems, or by the magnitude of your need. His power transcends every barrier, and your faith connects you to that power. There is a gentleness to the way God moves, even in His might. Miracles may be supernatural, but they are not always dramatic. Sometimes the greatest miracle is the transformation that happens inside of you. The shift from fear to faith, from worry to peace, from striving to trusting. When your heart aligns with God, miracles become a natural response from heaven. They are not forced, they flow. As you move through this season, keep your spirit open. Listen for God's whisper. Notice the subtle nudges. Pay attention to the peace or uneasiness that guides your decisions. Prophetic obedience is about sensitivity. being aware of the small ways God speaks and responding with trust. And as you respond, you create space for sudden, accelerated change to take place. There is an acceleration happening around you right now. Things are lining up. Answers are forming. Breakthrough is approaching. Your name is being spoken in rooms you have never entered. Your situation is being reviewed with favor. Your needs are being addressed before you even articulate them. Your steps are being guided with divine precision, and your faith is the magnet that is pulling these miracles toward you. You do not have to strive for them. You do not have to force anything. You simply have to remain in a place of calm surrender and expectant faith. God honors faith. He honors obedience. He honors hearts that are open to his leading. And he delights in showing himself strong on behalf of those who trust him. Everything you have been walking through, every delay, every disappointment, every moment of confusion has been preparing you for what is coming. You are stepping into a chapter where things will begin to unfold differently. You will experience moments that remind you that God is not only aware of your needs, but is actively involved in meeting them. You will witness his goodness in ways that bring tears of relief and gratitude. Your faith is powerful. Your obedience is significant. Together, they create a spiritual current that draws miracles into your life. Not random miracles, but miracles tailored specifically for you. Miracles that address the deepest needs of your heart. Miracles that break financial barriers. Miracles that restore what was lost. Miracles that remind you that God has always been in control. Miracles that remind you that God has always been in control. You are not striving your way into breakthrough. You are believing your way into it. You are not forcing doors open. You are walking through the doors. God is opening. You are not desperately trying to make things happen. You are aligning yourself with what God is already doing. So breathe deeply and let this truth settle into you. Sudden miracles are not coming. They are already being released. Financial turnaround is not a distant prayer. It is a present reality unfolding in ways you will soon see. Your faith and obedience have activated a move of God that will shift your circumstances, restore your peace, and elevate your life into a new realm of provision, clarity, and grace. As we come to the close of this moment together, let your spirit remain in the same stillness and calm that has carried you through every word. You have not just listened to a message, you have entered into a divine encounter. Something has shifted, something has lifted, and something has settled in your heart. A quiet confirmation that God is moving on your behalf. Stay in this peace, because it is the first sign that breakthrough is approaching. Peace always arrives before manifestation. It is heaven's whisper that says, I am already working. As you breathe, allow gratitude to rise within you. Gratitude for what God has spoken, for what he has broken, for what he has released. Gratitude is not merely a response. It is a spiritual magnet that attracts more of God's goodness into your life. As you thank him for what is coming, you pull the future into your present. You shift your heart into alignment with his promises. You create space for miracles to land. Let your heart rest in the assurance that you're not leaving this moment the way you entered it. You may return to the same physical environment, the same responsibilities, the same tasks, but spiritually, you are walking away different, stronger, clearer, lighter, hope-filled. The burdens that once weighed you down are no longer sitting in the same position in your spirit. God has already begun lifting what you cannot carry. This is your season to trust the unseen. Just because you do not see everything changing immediately does not mean nothing is happening. Breakthrough begins beneath the surface, in the unseen dimensions, long before it shows up in your reality. Continue to walk with quiet confidence. Continue to speak words of faith. Continue to see yourself the way God sees you, favored, supported, surrounded, and destined for increase. As you move forward, remain sensitive to the gentle nudges of the Holy Spirit. There will be moments when God whispers direction, urges you to take a small step, nudges you to release something heavy, or guides you to embrace something new. These moments matter. They are threads that weave the larger breakthrough you have been praying for. Obedience in small things creates openings for big things. Let this also be a season where you honor your own growth. You have endured more than you speak about. You have survived battles no one saw. You have kept believing when doubt tried to crush you. Celebrate your endurance. Acknowledge your strength. Recognize the resilience that carried you into this moment of transformation. God is rewarding not only your faith, but your persistence. As you journey into the coming days, expect subtle confirmations from God, small signs that remind you He is near and working. Expect conversations that feel divinely timed. Expect moments of clarity that feel like a gentle light switched on in your mind. Expect new opportunities that appear effortlessly. Expect peace to follow you like a shadow. These are the markers of angelic alignment and divine orchestration in your life. Hold on to the calm that surrounds you now. Let it anchor you when life becomes noisy. Let it steady you when you feel uncertain. Let it remind you that God is not finished. He is just beginning. You are stepping into a new realm of provision and direction. You are walking into spaces that once felt inaccessible. You are unfolding into the person God has been shaping you to be all along. And finally, release your future into God's hands with full confidence. You do not need to figure out everything at once. You do not need to predict or control the next steps. God already knows the path, the timing, the blessings, and the people He has ordained to walk with you. Trust His guidance, trust His pace, trust His heart toward you. It has never failed. Before you leave, let this be your declaration. I walk forward in peace, in faith, and in expectancy, knowing that what God has begun, He will bring to completion. Let it settle deeply into your soul. Let it carry you through today. Let it become your quiet anthem in the days ahead, reminding you that your breakthrough is not a wish. It is a certainty moving toward you even now.